200 plus members of parliament have retreated. They have retreated, and unfortunately kuna wale wamechomewa business zao, wale wamechomewa house zao. And right now I can hear people say, oh, unajua TikTok imewaka moto. Boss, there are 200 movements, there are 200 Gen Zs that are coming. This one I must bring to the attention. There are 200 Gen Zs for whoever felt that my MP or whoever was targeted unfairly. They are coming. Under that movement yesterday nilimaliza, and I even tweeted na nilipigwa hapo katukikora umbo nini dinyo sijui nini. But there are 200 entities led by their local member of parliament are coming, and they are saying we stand with, they stand with something that is against this movement. And was ile counter itakuwa ni noma. And I remember kuna siku tu Andrew aliuliza, boss, how sure are you that these girls will not counter on us? Alitusiwa hapa. Yani people didn't want to reason. People didn't want to even just pause for a moment and say, hey, Kibe muuliza nini yo? Because when you're going for war, one of the things that you need to understand is go to that war, but keep at the back of your mind that this guy should not counter. This guy should not come back for me. I can tell you each and every jurisdiction, each and every country or state invests in its military, not because they can fight, but because they can counter. Bro.
Lakini Lutomia.
Yeah.
Tumbo zilikuwa mingi, ulikuwa unaona hata wasanii walitokea.
Tumbo zilikuwa mingi.
Unaona pia calligraph. Alikuwa anataka a piece.
Bana.
Alikuwa anataka a piece of the cake. So
cheki, kuna siku Andrew aliuliza, kwa nini wanashiku alafu wanapotea alafu wanatokea saa 9 asubuhi? Hawatokei kwa police station kama kuna mzee mwenye anamanga huko Al Jazeera, huyu wa masuti. Alisema amekidnap kidogo, photo yake imeenda free. Anaitwa nani? Hata zilibo hata nimesahau jina yake. Free sijui nani huyu
ule naye atakaa sana.
Huyu wa masuti.
Huyo ni softy atakaa sana.
Cheki, ati free sijui nani. Nikaona ameachieve. Kuna mtu kama Gabriel Oguda. Hakuna mtu alishika Gabriel Oguda, boss. Hakuna.
Hata Osamotero.
Hakuna mtu alishika watu. But ni wase walijua, let's take advantage of this leaderless movement to make points. So unapata, I remember at some point over 4 million demands for his release. Boss, mpaka ikadiskasiwa gava in the corridors of security. Ikadiskasiwa. I was like, hey, I hope mse kidogo tunasikia ati ametokea sijui ati alikuwa huko Spring Valley. Hapo boss, hiyo ndo line yangu ya kwenda home. Hakuna mahali hapo ati unaweza achiliwa udropiwe hapo ati sasa sijui ati nao unajua nimeachiliwa. I cannot even talk. Wacha, you cannot talk ndo kusema nini.
So what do you think about those people who are affected? People like Kibe and some MPs.
This is the time to come and say, Kibe, come out and say, now from today henceforth, I will be the leader. Beat them by that. I will be the leader of whoever wants to follow me. This is the layout strategy. This is the layout plan. You want to meet the IG? What kama jana? People are addressing the president. Matras nyonge walk hapo Jogoo hapo Integrity House ama Jogoo House hapo kwa Karau kwa headquarters. Now waende wa address. Lakini unajua hawana mtu wa kupeleka. But my friend, if Andrew would walk into the IG's office at Jogoo House, wing A, Naseme, I am here to represent 5 million young people. And these are the questions they are asking. I am only a mouthpiece. Boss, any government officer atakufungulia mlango. Sahi, His Excellency the President has another wing, has another feather in his bag. saying, I am the only president who dared and went to face the young people on
Lutomia.
Twitter. Yes.
Osama Otero went for the cake. Kibe says that he wanted a seat at the table.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And make that seat count. Make that seat count. Because it's just that it's not just any normal seat. It's not a leather seat and imetengenezwa huko Isili ama pale Kamkunji. Si kiti ya kawaida. Hiyo kiti ni noma. Hiyo kiti imebeba ni weight. Imebeba weight. Kama saizi tuko hapa watu wangapi? Over 1,000. If we are just to go with this. Ni seat mzito. It must have stamina. Yani ule mse mwenye mambo wakalia hapa, whoever is facing you, in this case, for example, if it's the president or waziri or the IG or whoever, must know it's not about this face, man. It is 4 million people. This guy is seated here on behalf of 5 million young people of this particular age with this particular movement and this particular purpose. Boss, watakusikia. Lakini historia ati ilikuwa jana if there is a day I have seen His Excellency William Samoei Ruto go and sleep, yani jana alilala bila stress kabisa, yani alilala kama mtu mdogo, because
jana alilala poa. Jana alilala poa jana aliingiza kidole kwa mapua ya Mkenya, akaingiza kwa mkundu na akarudishia Mkenya kwa mdomo, akamlambisha.
Mwenyamwezi mpaka akasema let us pray.
Bana!
Let us pray. Wacha ni
wewe unafikiria president alikuwa anajaribu hiyo maombi ilikuwa kuambia nini? Kidole cha kati. Lakini naona Mariam ako hapa.
Mariam.
Can you hear me, Mnyamwezi?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh yeah, I'm saying
loud and clear.
I'm saying give me 5 minutes. I wanted to engage Rich.
And we can always be there for what we've achieved.
Rich.
Hey, Uza. Hello, Mariam nakusikia.
No, Merezi mkono, jump in.
Nilikuwa nasema nimesikia Mariam anataka kuniengage. But nilikuwa na one point nilikuwa nasema tumecheki kitu moja yenye tumeprove na hii story ni ati Prezo ako na tamaa ya kuzima tu moto. Unacheki like ya kuzima moto na hataki kuaddress the real issue. So kitu ya kumpatia saa hii ni moto mingi za kuzima. So acha tuone nani atahema wa kwanza. Lakini kama hamna stamina kweli.
Rich, let me cut you there. Ana tamaa ya kuzima moto. The president ametokea. He's come out. He's saying I'm here. Now tell me what you want. Sasa hiyo what we want ndio kuna mtu ya kumwambia. Jana tulikuwa pale mtu anamwambia unajua utafuta lini huyu mtu? Wewe sasa unashindwa mtu anamwambia nini bana? You're here on behalf of 5 million people.
Wewe huku get your story. Ile voki tuli happen hapo ni ati Prezo amejitengenezea echo chamber na kila msee akaendaga hapo hivyo kumsikiza. So like wewe kama Prezo umelipa yule msee mwenye anakuhost. Unafikiria zile questions zenye zitakuwa hapo hivyo zitakuwa genuine. Hazitakuwa wewe hauangalii ile story yenye wasee wanadai. Wewe unataka kuaddress ile story wewe unadai kuaddress. Ndio maana alijiakeaga space yake yeye mwenyewe ili lead that conversation. Unacheki? Like that was his whole play. Ndio maana tunasema alitu nini? Yaani alitoka kidole, unacheki? So like
where is he? Kale kadem ka Germany kalikuwa na president. Kalikuwa kwa hiyo chamber. Kale ka sauti ndogo.
Huyo dem alikuwa ameishi kwa nini? Huyo dem alikuwa ameishi kwa spaces za Osama. Huyo si dem mwenye unaweza expect ati ako hapo voti kutoa kitu yenye ni mpya. Osama alikuwa anajua Kenya huyu dem anakaa kusema.
Ule alikuwa na insist ati watu 200 walidai huko Githurai.
Acheki. Like hivyo ni story yenye
imagine kuna fight na mtu mwenye ananis bana.
Bro, ile kitu ili happen hapo hivyo jana ni ati tuliendaga kusikiza show yenye ishakuwa crafted, as in ni kama movie. Umeenda hapo hivyo kuwatch movie. Wale wase wenye walikuwa gana the real questions hawakupatiangwa chance, na yule msemo mwenye alikuwa na make sure hiyo imehappen ni Osama na Hussein. Ni hivyo tu, hivyo ilikuwa show tulikuwa tumeenda hapo hivyo kuwatch, na the only thing yenye Ruto alikuwa nadai ni wasi wengi wakuje, na watu wakaendaga wakasikiza.
So as I finish,
So ili
as I
yako na ile
finish,
bragging
Richie,
right ya niliongelesha Gen Z.
as I finish, what is the probability that tukichukua Mnyamwezi ama tuchukue Andrew ama tuchukue wewe Richie, what is the probability that kesho hautachapwa wase waamini ya kwamba wewe ukubaiwa?
Bro, let me tell you.
The only solution yenye tuko nayo
You know,
ni kwanza kupiga yule mse mwenye aliyeko kwa mfuko. Huyo wa kwanza akipigwa fiti, na juu kuna matraitors wengi wenye wako wenye wanaweza lipwa tena na kaspace kingine katengenezwe. Wanafaa kuwa ni ile vita ya tunakupiga wewe iwe funzo kwa wengine wenye
Rich, strategy yako ni defense.
Strategy yangu ni kwenda na Kenya prison na dai.
Unacheki, so wewe unacheza game ya prison. So strategy yako ni defense.
Exactly.
How can you have a defensive strategy? That doesn't work, bro. Defense is good, but offense is better.
Any military in any country prepares for offense, not defense, man.
Defense is good, but offense is better, my guy. You need to be able to bully
offense
people.
Is better, but how many?
So sasa nyinyi mnacheza defense.
What options?
Defense. So kazi yenu ni defense full time. Mnangoja kuona vile watacheza hiyo game alafu sasa nyinyi react, si ndio? So you're not in control of the game.
Easy.
You're not making the plays.
Yeah. You know the reasoning behind my strategy was that yes, it's defense. Yes, first of all, you have to accept that's defense. It's giving the president what he's looking for. Yani that fight, iyo tamaa, that need for him to save face. It's so high in him, like it's so much in him that hataki kugive in hata kidogo apatiane a real solution. So what you do is, if we have the stamina to keep this defense thing on, kama hii ndio kitu yenye tuna choose take, we give him as many wars to fight that at some point he has to sit down and be like, how many wars am I handling? How many wars am I fighting on a daily basis? That's the only way to put him on his knees. Kwa sababu the way of defense of attack yenye tulikuwaga nayo, uliona, you saw how we were quelled. You saw how we were quelled on a Thursday just because of a tweet. Yani Khalif tu alikuja akasema, you know what, I'll not be able to come on Thursday. Hizo wins zenye tumepata from the president, they are enough for us for now. Let's see how we can go sit down with him atupatie kitu more ama what we really want. Nacheki. And then on Thursday, that whole thing was kaput. Like, hatukuweza kuingia State House for shit. That was the only attack yenye tulikuwaga na yenyewe. Na iliweza kumaterialize. Unless you say there is more fire that can go to that point. Right now, the only way to give this president a run for his money is the defense strategy. I don't see any other attack game that we have under our sleeves at the moment. Unless you have a better one.
Rich, there's a lady who was looking for you here.
Wait. Let's hear from Mariam. Yeah, that one. Very nice. Mariam.
Yes. Good morning.
Before you go to Rich, there's something Mnyamwezi wanted you to tell us. What was that?
Achana na Mnyamwezi, please.
Alisema uliingia rabbit hole jana mbaya, so ukatoka na story ingine ya maajabu because you are on the other side of mafuta. Tell us what's going on.
No, story ya terror imeshaisha Mnyamwezi. I think focus on where the money is coming from right now. And I want to ask Rich a question. Rich, morning.
Yeah,
Good morning.
Morning. What's up?
I'm good. What do you want from the president right now? What are you agitating for?
At the moment, the only thing that
Yes.
let me like that's a very long answer you want from me, because this is a war that needs a lot of wins for it to be quelled. Understand?
Rich. What do you want from the president right now?
As a
Simple,
person,
straight
I'm
answer.
from the war.
What do you want from the president right now? The hashtag is Ruto. Wait, the hashtag is Ruto must go. So what do you want from the president right now?
As a person, I'm from the war. You know, there is two sides of this thing. And I take it. Like, if you want me to speak for the whole situation, I can speak about it. If you want me to speak about myself as a person, I'm still game. So what do you want from me?
This is now let me tell you something, Rich. This is the problem that you guys are facing as a group. And that's why yesterday when you're put in front of the
Stop
president,
going to the problem. First ask me
not.
the question.
No, give me. No, I am telling you something, Rich. Yesterday, Muli present you a president, and you had the same problem. You do not even know why you're agitating. That's why I'm asking you, what do you want from the president? If you're given 5 minutes with the president right now, why are you agitating? Because you see, now you're going to the war. Who is the war? Everyone you're talking about is invisible. Everybody. And you know what? The reason why Muliokotwa is because Osama Otero, being in Kenya, is the only person who was holding the big spaces. Not that the other 3 people who are holding big spaces on this agitation are people who are actually abroad. That is Kimunzi, Gondi is in Canada, and then there's Afrocentric. Those are the only 3 people who are holding major spaces consistently. These people are representing you from abroad. If you ask them what they want, they do not know, because the guys are not even telling you what is working in their systems that they want to be replicated here in Kenya. They're giving you venting space. But I've asked you a question right now, Rich. What do you want? You're going to the crowd again. Is it about the war or is it about me? No. Why are you in the war? What do you want from the president?
For me, it's so clear. And it has always been so clear, even from my posts. It's been, right now, the position that we are in as a country, we are being given two options by the government that don't make sense to me at the moment. They are saying the only way to raise revenue as a government is for them to increase taxes or borrow. But we can see through what they are bringing to us as a budget, it's something that's inflated. And the corruption that's happening in the country is so high, yeah, it doesn't make sense for us to keep pouring more money into it. So the first thing that he has to do for us, if I was given 5 minutes with him yesterday, I would have told him the 177 billion that he's saying he wants to borrow, he should stop at that point and find other ways, because they had said that this budget that was coming, they wanted to raise this finance bill that they were proposing, it would have raised 340 something billion more for this year. So if they sat down with themselves and cut that budget down to a point where they took it by half and be like, 177 billion is the only one that we need to borrow, I would have sent him back to that seat and told him, go figure a way out of raising that 177 billion by cutting that budget again and removing every other thing that doesn't make sense for us at the moment. That's it.
Okay, good. And my response to that is I'm going to answer it in 2 different ways. Number 1, then it means that this so-called Gen Z movement, when you are going to shoot down the finance bill, you forgot about the appropriation bill, because that is what was dictating the finance bill. But yesterday, just before he came to the spaces, he already spoke about the things that he has reduced on his budget. For example, The advisors are reduced by 50%. The first lady's budget, or whatever, all those ladies have been totally removed. The confidential budgets have been removed. Renovation has gone down by 50%. The purchase of new cars has been stopped for a whole 1 year. Non-essential travel has been suspended. You see, I'm saying all these things that he already said. So now the things you're talking about now that you're agitating for, he will tell you that he already sorted them. He was on news yesterday just before coming to the space talking about the things he has actually cut on that particular budget without you people agitating for. So I'm still asking, when you're saying Ruto must go, what is the problem? Because if you went, I'm telling you, Rich, if you went to him with this answer you've given me right now, he's going to give you the same answer I've given you right now. He's already sorted those issues from the budget and he has cut it from 347 billion to whatever figure which he didn't tell us. So why are you still agitating? That is my
Mariam,
question. What do you want from the
Mariam,
president?
listen,
Actually, Marion, he did. He
listen.
said he will present 176 to Parliament for appropriation, and then he will borrow 200. That he said expressly, and he did that intentionally. For people who always question, President amechukua loan ingine, or this time round, he has told you in advance.
Let me say this.
And that's a
Right.
checkmate.
Hello?
Unaona sasa, ngoja
Sikiza.
nikwambie Rich kidogo. You know, Lutonia, that's checkmate because you see, if they were to approach him with that agitation that Rich has approached with him to him right now, that would be the exact answer. I've already cut down the budget to this figure. So what next? What else do you want from me? And you see, Rich, when Kina Kibe are talking about having leaders and having structure, I think this is the reason why you people need to have some sort of someone to give you some kind of leadership and to give you inside information or to be at least up to date with what the president is doing. Because every time you're 2 steps behind him, muna fumble, ako ahead of you. Unaelewa, Rich? And I think, and I was coming up to tell you this, Rich. I was coming to actually ask you that. You've already responded. Now you're going to give me another reason why you're agitating. But for you young people, especially, I know Mkenya is really agitating. Mkenya has a very brilliant mind. You guys need to don't come up with complaints. Why are you spending taxpayers' money? Blah, blah, blah. You need to come up with some suggestions. Give him something tangible that he can actually apply to improve the economy. And you guys have brilliant minds, Rich, you young guys. So why don't you come up, even just a group of young people, and come up with some tangible plan
Mariam,
that you can actually...
Mariam, that will not work.
No. Why not, Kibe?
Because remember who they're dealing with. They're dealing with somebody who has been in this game for Mariam, let's go back. Yeah. So remember who they're dealing with. They're dealing with a guy who's been in the game for 32 years. He has been the game for 32 years. He has been the game. Any questions, even you could see, even when Akina Nani were asking questions, the three guys, the three musketeers, he already had the answer before they could finish. Whatever it is they want to ask him, he already knows what they want to ask him. So for you to go one-on-one with this guy at toe for toe when it comes to issues or policies or budgets, atakuokota.
Can I respond to that quickly? Because I've already said, Kibe, the problem is people are going to him with questions, but he's 10 steps ahead of them with answers. Now, and you are the one who likes to say this, and you said this the other day, Kibe, you cannot go to Ruto with a question. Go to him with this solution.
No,
this is the solution. This is the plan I want to roll out.
I'm trying to tell you, even at that point of solution, he's ahead of you. You get? So Ruto doesn't have ears. He doesn't have ears to hear anyone. He knows he's the sharpest guy in the room. He always knows he's the sharpest guy in the room. So when you start talking to him, he shuts off. He's not listening. But now this is the kicker. But you can pitch off some of that power for yourself, which is what I thought the Gen Z would do. You take some of this decision-making ability from him and tell him, hey, we shall make these decisions. These ones here, we shall make. Leave these ones to us. You continue doing your thing. What do you think?
Can't you tell that that's where I'm pushing Rich towards? Because
listen, Mariam, you know, one thing that you're saying, you're talking stuff that can't happen. in this position, because even at the point of him cutting that that cash that he was to borrow by half, it didn't come from us as pointers. It didn't come from us as in at the end remove this money from this point to this point, bring it to here. It never happened that way. You know, this is just a carrot being dangled to us. So the only way to make sure that he listens more is for us to continue with this fight. And what is the rallying call for the whole issue? It's for the mismanagement of this money. So if this money is better managed,
Rich,
and we are not given to
Rich, that's why you guys lost it, because everybody has something different they want to say. You cannot all. How can you all go with something different? Reject finance bill was perfect because it was just one thing. It was just that one thing. Now you are saying, hey, we must agitate for change. We must make sure that our resources are used properly. How? Where is the mechanism for that? All right. We must reconstitute IBC. Where is the mechanism for that? Or we must put the people, we must put Gen Z in the right seats. Where is the mechanism for that? Where is the action behind the nonsense talk?
And you know, Kibe, the one thing that I see as a win is through us saying that, 50 through us saying that 50% of the loan that was going to be borrowed,
Oh,
has been
Rich,
reduced.
you sound
Rich is buying into the lie, man.
Rich, you have bought into the lie completely. You're not even listening.
Rich. Wow.
You're not even listening. You're still stuck in the fucking details. And that's where they want you. They want you stuck in these nonsense details that I'm agitating for change. There's this bill, there's that bill. All that is rubbish.
Kibe.
Without a seat at the table,
Kibe.
that is nonsense.
Kibe, it's like yesterday. Yesterday, President made it clear to them that the finance bill is still on. And majority of them never realized that. There was a time President told them that, and everything you are complaining about this financial bill, it's not even there. And people are there listening. President telling them to their faces that the finance bill is still on. But look at Richard as is now believing that there's something that happened.
Pauline.
Hi. I have been patiently waiting. Hi, can you hear me?
Patience is a virtue.
Thank you, Kibe. I was just wondering, I have a very, very pertinent question. So I had just read the document representing the 2024 action plan from Gen Zs, on behalf of all Kenyans. Where does that come into play? Because you have very beautiful pertinent points, 50 pertinent points. So why is that not in play right now as we speak? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No, we have no clue. Where are those 50 pertinent points and who wrote them down? Who's your Moses?
I have no idea who the Moses is, but it's number one.
Aren't you worried, Pauline, that the Moses could be the enemy?
Well, it could be, but how about, okay, so I'm a Gen Xer, right? And I was there in 1992. I am more or less aware of what Ruto is and who he is, right? And I know he's really good at spinning. And if we could also use, it's okay that whatever the 50 pertinent points are, could those not be twisted to work for us, not against us?
Yeah, but again, we have to decide on how many points we want to have. We can't just have 50 points, Pauline. Come on.
I agree with every single one of you, and I totally agree. But like you guys said, there needs to be direction. I feel as though we are directionless as of now, and we are dealing with a very...
Why are you panicking? And right now, what we're doing is finding our direction.
Absolutely. And I absolutely agree. And that's why I'm here. I'm just saying
But you
that
cannot tell us we're directionless when we spend 3 hours here just talking and finding out how we feel about everything. And then now you come and tell us you see like we're directionless. Come on.
I'm sorry
Why
about
not?
that. Okay, I didn't mean. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm not trying to antagonize you. That's not what I'm trying to. I'm just trying to.
I sound.
I'm so sorry. I truly apologize. I'm truly,
No,
truly
you don't have to apologize with me. Yeah, you don't.
No,
You
I
never have
have
to
to
apologize
because
with me.
I don't want to be. I'm not antagonistic. I'm just trying to say that if you already have, like Miriam was saying, and I'm truly with Miriam, like what is
Another
the
Gen Xer.
you know?
another Gen Xer out of ideas.
I know. We sound a certain way, but all we are saying is this: if we were centered, like you're saying, if we were centered, right? If we knew what our question was, what is it that we want? You know, and I'm 100% with you. What is it that we want?
Maybe
And
I'll
that's
tell you what I
finally.
want. I'll tell you what I
Yes.
want.
Yeah. Okay.
For me, I want I want representation. I know that my community has not been represented in parliament since the beginning of time, since 1963.
Agreed.
Yeah, so these guys who do talk like us, they are not in parliament. You know that, right?
Agreed.
Yeah, and that's why it was very nice when I went to town on Tuesday and I saw people who look like me with iPhones and the KFC and whatever. And I was
know.
Hey, we are not represented in parliament. Just know that.
Yeah.
Just know we don't have anybody speaking for us. Because look at someone like Uhuru. Uhuru was not he was not an ass, guys.
No, absolutely not. Kabisa, no.
Uhuru was a sharks guy who came and went to St. Mary's. But he was not an ass, guys. Look at someone like Ruto. Look at someone like Gachagua. These are not our people.
Agreed.
Look at someone like Moses Kuria. Who is he? These are people from the village.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
in fact, Gachagua has put a call for space. Andrew, anakutaka hapo.
So nasiko ubaya. Kila mtu anarepresentiwa na watu wake. Nani anaturepresent sisi? Sisi ile community imeenda mpaka tukatoka Kenya tukaenda diaspora.
Thank you.
Sisi tunaremit hizi doo zote na hakuna mtu ako hapo na hakuna sura yetu. Look at someone. That's why these guys, when the first thing they go in there, they change their look, trying to look like the guys from Tahao.
Yeah.
And you can see how they fail miserably.
Kabisa.
So Mimi, I want representation. I want a seat at the table where these guys from Shags are sitting.
So Kibe, let me ask you, what does the seat at the table look like for you?
There's a constituency. When you have a constituency, then you have power to make decisions. You know, constituency Gen Z walitap. Lakini ni constituency yetu. This is who we are. So sisi akina mimi hapa Rich akina Mnyamwezi tunaangalia huko ndani ya parliament, hatuoni mtu wetu. We look at the Senate, hatuoni mtu wetu. All of them, they have the same story. I came from the ghetto and I nini. Sisi wenye tumeishi kwa flat. Who's representing us?
So that's what you want, representation.
We must have representation because there's a breakdown in communication. These guys
agree.
cannot be the ones communicating to us. We must have somebody communicating to us in our language. That's why even when the president came yesterday on the spaces, he was like a fish out of water. He doesn't know what he's doing because this is not normal for him. Kimuzi and Nani and someone like Osama, these are not us. They don't represent us.
But unfortunately, the president left smelling of roses.
It was for him. That's how they play. So he's winning.
Yeah.
For us,
Pauline, breaking news kwa CNN bana. Imagine president meets the agitated Gen Z.
Kabisa. there has to be a bait. We need to be the people who are baiting and switching. Sindio, or what do you guys think? Because it feels as though we were baited and switched.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now,
And we need to flip that script for real. We need to flip that script. Kesho, I mean, come on, guys. Tomorrow is a big day. Sindio. Like for us guys who are Gen Xers, tomorrow is a big day for us guys. We were there back in the day. So what do we need to do? What's the way forward? And I honestly respect, and I truly on Twitter, I said, Poleni Gen Zs, tuliwa fail. What do we need to do? How can we help as Gen Xers?
Pauline, hatukuwa fail. Walisema hawataki anything to do with us. Kaeni kando, si tunaenda kusema reject na tuwataki na ni sisi tunaongea peke yetu. So wameenda wamekwama. Wamegawanyika huko. Alafu sasa wamerudi. Kila mtu ameingia chini ya maji, wakununuliwa, wamenunuliwa, hawakukuwa na mtu kae kuambia, my friend, hii Sabasaba imekuwa tangu 1990.
Yes.
Tangu hata kesho wameka sasa ingine ya TikTok huko Uhuru Park. Watu waende wa dance, wapige picha tena, wasemeni aje, maze tumekuwa hapa 7 days of sijui what.
No.
Meanwhile, I mean, game inaendelea vile inakuwa.
Kabisa.
Game iko vile iko. And if you send you, that's where and that's why I'm here. Tukikutuma wewe, or tume Andrew, or tume some guy called engineer whoever, or Mariam. What is the probability that watu watasema huyo akupeleka tumbo?
Kabisa.
Hiyo tu. Alafu Rich ameulizwa swali, and I think Mariam was asking a valid question, that ukienda kukutana na huyo jamaa mwenye amekuwa game for over 30 years, if you're meeting the president mwenye hata ana struggle, yani vile Kibe amesema ni fish ina struggle kuswim kwa this kind of waters, ni nini utamwambia mpaka kuambie okay, let me go back, can we have this meeting next week on Monday? Not really ati unamwambia ashaenda ahead of you, akona kama jana he had already established a debt commission. Jana he had already presented austerity measures. As of yesterday, before he even met the guys, he already had a brief from the security institutions. As of yesterday, he even started by saying, oh, najua nime struggle vile new struggle mazejo, kuna vile net imeniangusha. Someone would have asked him, boss, unajua hii net wewe imekuangusha juu you're coming to us. Mimi inaniangushaga hivyo when I want to make money, when I want to make my daily shit, man. No one. Mtu anafika pale anamwambia unajua sasa
So yani kitu mnajaribu kusema ni ati hiyo space actually haikuanga the space yenye tungefaa ku aim at, nacheki, like that was not where the decisions are made, sindio? Like that is not where decision yoyote ingekuwa made in any way. Hiyo ilikuanga tu kutuonyesha he was just playing to the gallery, right?
Yeah.
So if there's anything yenye ingekuwa made, ingekuwa behind the closed doors. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. That guy was not
So kitu
representing
yenye tungefaa kuenda nayo kwa hiyo space ni kujua, like we get him to a point ya kusema this is the seat I'm offering, so that now for these and many more can be handled by you at the table.
Richie, we had said, guys had said leaderless, and the president presented an opportunity for them to go and meet him. In the spirit of being leaderless, they would have said, we leaderless have appointed this economist. You challenge the president on numbers. You don't challenge him on a fear kind of mode. Challenge him on numbers. If it was representation, vile Andrew anasema, atuko mahali kwa table, someone would have gone there to prove to him that we are not on the table. That hiyo story waga anapiga maze watuishiki. We understand na ana make sense to other quarters or to other generation, but to us,
But that happened though. But that
it didn't
happened.
happen.
Kulikuwa na msemo
It didn't happen.
alisema kuna msemo alisema there was a representation for the women. Unacheki? Na akasema kuko na kiti fulani yenye ina miss in that
Boss,
body yake. Kwa hivyo
nilisikia
body
kupiga
yake
umsema ngumi. Nilisikia kupiga umsema ngumi. If today His Excellency the President will say, I, the President of the Republic of Kenya, have appointed Rich to join my cabinet as a youth advisor. What is the weight of that? What is the weight of that? Other than you going there, and then after the cabinet meeting, we'll have a cabinet memo that will say, we have decided that Talanta Hela from the Ministry of Youth, presented by Rich. You understand? What was that? It was not about a particular person being in a particular circle. It was about how do we tackle the movement's cause? How do we tackle the force behind the movement? It's not about the person. Because that's what leaders have been saying. Wamesema, oh, hakuna wamama wamelia hawako represented kwa bunge, manominations zinaanza, manomination to jazz and the number. Oh, they've said they don't have a space in the cabinet. Okay, bring one. I can tell you we have women in Baringo. We have even women here in this space. Hapa say to conduct. They don't know who Chigai is. Pauline doesn't know who Chigai is. Mariam does not know. Atajai, even Chigai has never even brought a forum to ask Pauline, what do you want me to tell the president as I sit with him on Tuesday at the cabinet? Hajawai. There is a guy, I think when they brought Malala, they brought him for, actually he had been brought for that youth business or whatever, or representing the party. You know, so how wako happy? Wako happy? It's not about the person. And that's what they've been doing. That's what Andrew is fighting for. You know, amekuwa akifanya. Right now, they're saying women are still not enough. Do you know in the NADCO report, they were saying they want to add more women so that they meet the 1/3 rule in bunge. But tukianza kusema, okay, wacha tulichague our mama. They will not allow you. They will not allow you to say, okay, we front Pauline, we front Mariam, we front Rita or whoever. No, they'll say, these are the people that we have presented before you. And that's now what everyone is agitating. No maana kila msee hapa hivi amejam. So it's not about the person, it's not about Rich being in cabinet.
Lutomi,
It's about the
kuko-
Just
movement
a
being
moment.
felt in the cabinet.
Rich, I want to speak to you
Lutomi,
before you speak,
kuko na one
Rich.
issue yenye iko hapo hivyo. Like kuko na hivyo issue ya hiyo sit at the table, yes. Yenye inafaa kukuwa spearhead vitu mob. Mimi kama mimi as a person, najua kuko na taxes zenye zimekuwa up on my end. Unacheki like kuna vitu zenye
Apana,
zimekuwa
Rich, just
Sikiza
give me
kwanza,
give me just 2 minutes. I want to tell you something, and then you tell me whether this is a good direction, because mi naona nyinyi bado, you guys are the youth, but mi naona bado mna focus so much on national issues. So I'm going to ask you something. Did you know that the Youth Enterprise Development Fund has been cut by 55% this year, from 500 billion to 225 million? Don't you think that should be the point of focus for you guys as youth? Munaanza hapo, why was the youth budget cut? Number 2, don't you think you need to ask for an audit of that youth budget? How is it being used? Who are there spearheading that budget? Is it the youth? Is it the bloomers,
Mariam,
boomers?
Mariam,
Yes, boomers.
and
I think,
you,
no,
Mariam,
kidogo, kiasi tu,
no,
Kibe. Just give me a moment,
hold
because
up. Listen to the point I'm making.
I'm trying to challenge Rich to focus on issues
No, you
first
see,
that
you're
deal
making the
with
same
youth.
mistake. You're
Because
making the same mistake because you think that there are issues which are bigger than the other. So that's why you're redirecting him and telling him, hey, stop looking here.
no,
Hold up.
Kibe, the problem is that they're all over
No,
the
but
board.
listen to this. These issues cannot be tackled here. None of these issues can be tackled here. That's what you guys are mistaking. These issues are tackled on the ground level. So you cannot bring at the issues here and say you guys should be focused on the fact that the Youth Development Fund has been cut by. No, how? Who's going to tackle that? The youth needed.
It's them. That's why I'm telling them.
No, hold up. Listen to this part. It's a very good part for you, Mariam. There are too many issues that everybody is coming in with. Everybody is coming in with a new issue. This one wants taxes. You can hear Rich right now talking about taxes. You're telling them redirect your anger to the youth development fund, whatever. Somebody else will come and say, oh, you guys, you know what? Without an IEBC, you guys are doing nothing. Another guy will come and say, oh, you know what? There's this new what bill was that? You keep like you want to throw in everybody's face. These issues cannot be handled by everybody. That's why there has to be representation. Gen Z wapende wasipende. There has to be representation, so that these guys themselves who are representing them can go agitate one by one by one in the relevant offices. Si kupayuka tu kwa spaces kusema, you know, we need to do this. Who are you telling? Because that's the whole idea. Everybody wants to complain, but who are you telling? Nani ako na notepad? Notepad. Who are the notebook here, writing all your complaints? One day they follow them up one by one by one. That person has to be you have to have a list, and they have that list has to be in priority of highest to the lowest. So when this lady came here and said, oh, I have a 50-point plan, I was like, no, that's too long. A 50-point plan is for committees. It has to be broken down to many, many different subcommittees. But you guys here just throwing suggestions. You don't have the fucking power. Get the power. Without the power, you're wasting your time talking. Get the fucking
suggestion is
power.
giving us a constitution.
No, wait, Kibe, please. You need to hear me out. You know, something that Rich, and this is something that he didn't understand me in the beginning. Kibe, give me just 1 minute to say this, Kibe. I told Rich in the beginning that they will have to come up as a group of people who have a plan. And then they have to sell the plan to the bigger group of people. Now, what they need to note is that the person at the top of the hierarchy, which is the person with the plan, is going to have the highest benefit. But even if he has this benefit, it must impact maybe 1,000 or 2,000 more people. So the reason why I'm zeroing in on the youth fund issue is because one of the major problems is the joblessness. So that is why whoever is going to spearhead this whole thing is going to have the
Raila in 2007, when he was screwed over, he said, this country will know no peace until you guys give me half of this fucking government. You, Mariam, are busy telling these guys to go chasing their tail with stupid agendas. Oh, you know, the youth fund has been cut by, fuck that youth fund. You can start a whole new youth fund.
Okay, so what's the plan today? What is the advice that you want to give them?
Hold up. Because the youth fund ndio mnadanganywa nayo. Utu funds ndio mnadanganywa nayo. Una check Osama was given 30 pieces of silver. Immediately. Akawachana nayo because mnapenda tu vitu this and I want this. You guys are asking for, hey, reject finance bill. Good. What next? Don't have a budget for wife and husband. Okay, good. Done.
Can I speak?
Hold up, Jean. Let's hear from engineer, then I'll come to you. Engineer Shitote.
Okay, all right.
Andrew talking about power. I want to tell Mariam that whatever she's trying to say that we have to go to that table with, she should know that at this point, we are still amateurs on that table. We can't go to that table to discuss with people who have more knowledge, they are too smart, they can turn around everything. The only thing we have is the power to threaten their positions. If we threaten their position, these people will turn down. Because what Mariam is trying to attack Rich and tell us, is telling us to tone down our language, to tone down our tone of addressing these issues, and the only language we have is to riot and threaten these people, threaten their offices. And Kibe said something when we were trying to to say that Gen Zs wakuwe na constituents. The only way ya kufanya hiyo constituency ikuwe active is to utilize this moment ambayo wave iko ya Gen Z, to radicalize Gen Z washike kura. Because as much we talk, voters in Kenya, all Gen Z when on the street, see voters in Kenya. They only account for maybe 20% of voters in Kenya. And that is what giving these politicians big head. They know in as much as these people are talking, they don't have, even if we go to by-election, they threaten certain MP, they cannot even remove a single MCA in their village. They have numbers, but they are not voters. So let us radicalize this Gen Z to be voters and to threaten Ruto, his position. Our MPs threaten them from those two positions. But now to go to negotiating table, Mariam, we are still amateurs on that table. We can't make it. The way we said reject finance bill, they walitusikia haraka sana. Lakini hii negotiating table munaenda, you are going to lose it.
Engineer, before you go, so when you say we go there,
Yes.
tunaenda kuuliza which position? We want the deputy president position?
No.
Or what do we want? Ukisema tuchukue kura na nini?
I think
hawa watu naambia wachukue kura hawana pesa. Hawana pesa.
I think wewe unanipata wrong. Once Gen Zs wako na kura kila mtu, tutasikizwa. Kwa sababu watajua once Gen Z wamesema ni Kibe, tunaenda kupea kura kwa hasira, watampea. Na kama ni MP ata lose position yake. These people will tone down their voice.
But you see, and I think maybe I saw where Lutomia was going, engineer.
Yeah.
That is a defense move. It's not an offense move. Because sasa wewe unataka wakusikize, akina nani wakusikize? Na meza iko hapo, unaweza chukua meza wewe mwenyewe. Unataka usikizwe na nani? Are you getting my point?
I'm getting it, but I think
because if today let's assume we are living in a dream world. All the people who are and let's not even call them Gen Z anymore, because your Gen Z inafanya si tuokotwe, si ndio? So tuseme all the people who are aggrieved, we form one political party. Okay?
Yes.
All the people who are aggrieved, and in this political party we're going to have voting, but it's going to be all electronic. It's all going to happen, like the way it happens in Estonia. And then that one person is on who's going to represent this political party when it comes to 2027. Do you think that we would right now to put some action behind it, go all the way out and try and put as many people of the Gen Z in public office as possible, elective office kwanza especially?
Yes.
So do you think that would ever happen?
It can happen if we utilize the moments that tumekuwa nazo Kenya. Hii moment ya watu kwenda hadi parliament, hiyo energy vijana wako nayo, wanaenda IBC, wanaregister, wanarudi street. Hapo hiyo language wanasiasa wataisikia, because they will know there is something going on. But now, mimi hata watu wakiblame Osama, I'm the one person blaming Osama. We've gone to that table too early. And these people, they have countered us and will never recover. And that's what I know. Unless we go back to our drawing board and we go with our tune.
Yeah,
just
I'm actually
like
happy
it
that
was
I'm actually happy that it happened the way it happened, because it would have been worse had it continued. Just imagine if we had continued into the movement for another 2-3 weeks with such a snake amongst us. That would have killed us even more, bro. So let's take our L's and keep it moving. Anything else you want to say, engineer? I want to go back to
kitu ingine ni another thing is there is representation. Umesema lazima tukue nayo, so representation si lazima tunakuwa representation waende ati waongee na rais. We have to have leaders ambao tunaweza kaa chini tukama hapo na hizo points Mariam anataka. Unaona saa hii kila mtu ako na points zake, so to organize our representative akuwe na hizo point ya kila mtu anataka, tunapeana priority. Hii ndio tunataka kwanza. To some extent I agree with Mariam. Most of us, we don't know what we are agitating for, and because we don't have leadership. That's it.
Thank you, engineer. Let me try and clear this board a bit. Jean.
Yes.
Is it
sorry.
Jean or Jean?
It's Jean.
Okay, I'm trying to be
Yeah.
chic here. Okay, go ahead.
No. I actually do agree with Kibe. That I usually have a phrase, right? Frame or be framed, or F and be effed, right? If you work in a table, you always have to have framed your idea or your agenda, whatever it is. But if you work in a room without an agenda, your agenda will be defined for you, right? So I think engineer or even Kibe said we went into the table too early, right? But there's something that comes with experience that the Gen Xers have that the Gen Z can utilize, right? And so I think we all across both generations, we have to work together, right? If of course we have to take our country back, right? And I think if you have no power, you have no voice. If you have no representation, you have no voice, right? Because you're scattered everywhere, right? So I get Miriam's point of saying you're scattered everywhere, and trying to bring in the agenda. But also I think it feeds into what Kibe is saying. There is no representation. Therefore, there is no agenda, right? And therefore, your agenda is being defined for you, right? I did get a chance and I think maybe the last 2 weeks I've spent a whole lot of listening to these spaces. I'm one person that probably I haven't even, I probably haven't never listened to a space, but the last few weeks I've listened a lot, just listening, and at some point we sound like we are just complaining. Yes, it's good to complain, but at some point the complaining has to stop and the actions have to start, or the agenda needs to start taking shape, right? Because then if you walk into the table, the way engineer said, without that agenda being defined, or it's too early, then you don't know what you want. And the other side says, oh, they're just everywhere, right? But then they're already defining their agenda and continuing their agenda, right? And that agenda is saying, I even think there's a point that the president chuckled when somebody commented about, like, oh yeah, we are going to vote you out, something to that agenda. And he just chuckled, right? And it's in a way of saying, yeah, I've already defined your agenda for you because you're everywhere. So I
he chuckled because the guy who was telling him, he started by saying, I don't have rent, and I'm here, I am jobless, And you know, Your Excellency, I will mobilize people to get you out.
Yes,
That's the
yeah,
president was
yeah.
like.
So he chuckled, of that, because he's just like, what can you do with that agenda of like, I have no rent, right? That's not an agenda. You know, so I think it's important, you know, having representation and vetting that representation very well, to the point that they are going to represent a collective agenda, right? And that collective agenda, of course, there are many people who've talked with so many points and what have you not, right? I mean, the AI space, I would have loved to just capture all those sentiments and extract the key points, right? You know, but I think having a collective agenda and having a well vetted representation that cannot be bought, or whatever now people are saying, some people are bought, some people whatever, right? That's distraction, right? And it's because we don't have a collective agenda, right? And that collective agenda helps being defined by the people who have people, the Gen Zs will miss out a lot. And it will take for them a long
Realized Rebel, what's up?
What's up, bro?
Talk to
Hey, can you hear me?
100%.
Under focus and reject finance bill. We were all speaking in one voice, and like on the streets, the goal was one, and we went and spoke in one voice now to make sure that your finance bill were rejected and all. So mine is to say that as much as we are all saying Ruto must go, and it's the thing that's trending right now. But what next after this guy? it will disintegrate polepole. So hata hii government hakuna vile tunaweza endea the head ati tuseme tu ati Ruto must go and tudhani ati itakuwa that easy. We need to have clear objectives, and to initiate effective change, we must streamline our efforts by focusing on one objective at a time. A good start is the reconstitution of the IEBC, because as we all know, our electoral process.
No, civilized. I will not do that today. No, I refuse. I have said no.
What do you mean?
No, we shall not have that talk of what we need to do. We have discussed what talk that you have right now, because every time you say what we need to do, who are these ghosts that are out there just waiting to hear from a civilized society or a reunion? Civilized what? Rebel.
Holding these spaces is about.
No, we are talking. It's just a question. When was the last time you were questioned by Nika? I'm asking, where is the action behind the talk? Because we've been doing a lot of talking and no action. Na jana been
And I think that's the point I was trying to raise. If we stick to one objective at a time, like we did with the reject finance bill, and we all go to the streets with one aim, and the IBC reconstituted, that's not action.
How do you decide which agenda to go with to the streets? And that's what Gen Z has.
I would expect everyone else is.
That's what Gen Z has. I will push.
Okay, what solution do you have, Mr. Kibe?
Solution to what? What's the problem?
You say that all we do is talk and we need to take action.
It's a
That's
question
what I'm
asked you.
asking.
Why not just answer the question? What's the problem?
We all know the problem is bad governance in the country and corruption and everything that's happening.
So how do you get rid of bad governance? By introducing good governance, right?
Exactly.
And how do you introduce good governance? By introducing good people into the system. Is that So the only way.
Why would it not work?
I mean, how do you see a revolution working in Kenya? People. So my point to you is this, which is where I was taking you in the first place, is that unless the solutions start coming through, then this movement is going to die just like that, because it cannot be a movement of just complaints, because nobody is writing your complaints down. Nobody is sitting down saying, oh, so this is what this person is saying. Nobody gives a flying fuck. What you're supposed to do is, whatever it is you want, you go get it for yourself. Our demands, that does not exist. You cannot fight defensively. It doesn't matter how bad as you are. You cannot win by defense. There has never been anybody who won at just by defending themselves. That is a strategy for losers. So we have to get out.
So how do we take action, bro?
We start now. There's no time for tomorrow. We decide right now, this minute. You come up with an idea, you better be the one to run with that idea. Unaelewa? Usikuja udamp idea kwetu,
Yes.
atutudampie unawambia, hey, here is the idea, I've dumped it on you, now that is your problem. And then come back 1 year later say, I told you so. I told you guys. No. Somebody has to take responsibility. But also that means that somebody has to take the hit.
So do you think it's a good idea for us to have one clear objective at a time, like I suggested?
I think first you need to get the power before the objectives. Because objectives ni mob. Unaelewa? Issues ni mingi. Na issues
I understand that. And
issues, different issues arise every day. So today's issue will not matter tomorrow. So if you are only here for that issue, ofisi yako imeisha.
okay, mi nikisema we need to focus on one objective in a time and suggest IBC. I did not mean that has to be the issue that we need to focus on first. Kama sahi nimesikia kuna watu wanaenda on Monday to support the Ministry of Health nini, our nurses and all, which is a clear objective. That's also another example. We can like focus on one ministry at a time. Kama ni education nini. That's my point. Badala ya kusema kila siku Thomas.
So that I can move on beyond you.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to think beyond whatever you're thinking. Right now you're thinking very small. Okay? You're thinking very small. Think big. Think that you have the power to be able to make decisions on all fronts. That's what you need to look at. You have that power. So let's start thinking that way. And Rich, you wanted to say something before we move on to Mace.
Yes, and thank you for the opportunity. I think, Bana, you are opening our third eyes in very bad dimensions. So I think we were going the wrong way, and going for one thing at a time is madness. So the problem that we have right now is, first of all, we've known the problem. Yes, the problem is the bad governance that we are seeing always. So how do we counter it and put a table for ourselves in that whole system that is there right now, borrowing from the master of cake cutting, there's one big matron of cutting cakes in Kenya, who is Raila. He has always fought for his people. Even if he loses, his people always get seats in government. So I think at the moment that we right now as we are here, my first suggestion would be, if governance is and corruption is the problem that we are facing right now, and that's what we are fighting. And these issues are coming to bite us anyway, at the end of the day, in our businesses and in our families, in terms of the money that we are removing from our wallets to give government. Then we need to have a seat as the youth, like women have in there. You know, women they cut the cake kitambo. They have women reps and whatever. Right now, we need maybe an ombudsman for every ministry in government, the whole of it, like from A to Z. If there is the upper government that is headed by Ruto, every ministry must have a Gen Z seat, yeah, a seat that is political first of all, and then it is well funded by government for it to audit each and everything that the government says, and the only responsibility it is charged with is to keep that ministry on toes. Whatever they said they will deliver, it must be delivered at a certain point in time and at a certain period, and then the money that is given to it must be able to be auditable in a way so that office does not arise then and bring the Gen Z back to the streets to give the government headache to go on. I think that's a solution that maybe would benefit a lot of youth first of all, and also tackle the problem that we have at the moment of bad governance.
You know, the funny thing about all this is, I don't know where Mnyamwezi went to, but the funny thing is that they have regrouped. Wameregroup who? Anyway, Mario, what do you want to say?
I want to first laugh and say that, ladies and gentlemen, finally you've gone back to your default settings. You're being honest that what you want is a piece of the pie. Because what we know, fact, we are overrepresented. We need to cut our government by a half. We have a bloated government. But you guys want to still go in and be part of the government instead of looking for a way to fix the system and cutting the government by a half. We do not need more representation, guys. Sasa penye mmerudi sasa ni pale pale penye you want nusu mkeka. That is the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing I wanted to say was
yes, that's what we want.
Nusu. Exactly. So now you have gone back to honesty. We do not. The fact is, we do not need more representation in government.
No, but
we need to cut our government by a half.
Who said we do not need more representation? Why do you sound like CNN?
You already have representation.
But who said
in
we
the
do not
government?
need more representation? Who said that? Who made that statement?
You're already represented, guys.
Yeah, but who made that statement? Because when we were getting more representation, we already had representation. So who the fuck are you to tell us what we can and cannot do? When we were getting 47 new women reps, where were you?
You're already represented, but
you?
What
we
you
are
want
not represented.
is
This constituency here has no representation. Show me somebody who looks like me in parliament. Show me somebody who talks like
you
me.
Have Jalango. You have Jalango. Jalango looks like you. Jalango speaks like you.
Jalas is a guy from Shags. Jalas, me and him cannot openly sit and have a beer like buddies. No, we speak different languages.
You guys have had Kina Jaguar in parliament before. You've had Kina. All these guys are there. My God. You have no. That girls need to avoid all you guys who are going to the streets because you can't afford to take the buddies for holidays and all that.
Tell us stories that we know.
That is 100% you, Kibe. You have representation. But you guys are agitating for Nusumkate. Now you're being honest.
Mariam, slow down. Yeah, slow down. Listen to what you're being told. You're being told that right now, there is no representation. Whether there are 1 million people in parliament today, whether there are 1 million, out of those million, there's not a single one who's representing this constituency. And that's why this constituency is not satisfied. Because immediately they looked and they saw Osama was not part of us. That's why Osama folded like a piece of paper. Because Osama is not part of this constituency. Osama is a Johnny come lately. Osama is a guy who he set up his account to sell.
So you're saying we need the Ministry of Liam and Kababa in government?
We must get it, Mariam. What are you talking about? Unless you put these people in those offices, then they're going to burn down this country.
Ministry of Spaghetti and Chihuahua.
Bro! Ministry of iPhone and KFC. What are you saying, my guy?
Aki mkona jokes.
Unasema nini?
Alafu Kibe, wakati huu Mariam anasema ati Jalango na represent ODM. Jalango does not represent us. He represents the ODM party that nominated him to parliament. So that is why young people are on the streets, because nobody is representing them. Ukiangalia the political parties that we have, they represent their political party leaders. When you look at UDA members of parliament, they're in the parliament representing William Ruto. When you look at Wiper Party MPs, they are there representing interest of Kalonzo Musyoka. These guys are not representing the Gen Zs or the millennials. They are there representing their party leaders. That is why the Gen Zs should have their own political vehicle that will represent them. Because kama huna chakula, you go out and look for food. If you don't have clothes, you go out there and look for clothes. Therefore, what Gen Z should be looking for is a system that will align to their needs, or dominate the already existing system and make it align with their needs. But history ya kusema ati we are begging for one CS position for the young people, we are begging sijui for one MP for young people. Why can't these young people come up with their own political party and erect themselves to parliament? These guys are the majority. 60% of the voters are young people below 40 years. Why can't they vote their people and fight from parliament, get their representatives in the parliament, instead of saying we are begging the government, we are begging the UDA party to nominate a youth, we are begging the ODM party to nominate a youth, whereas these guys are the majority? Why don't we as young people come up with our own political vehicle that will propel young people to parliament, so that we can make registrations from parliament that align with our needs?
Javan.
Yeah.
Let's put some action behind all this talk, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you find out what it takes to register a political party, and then we can register the political party here. We can have our members here, and we have registration here. So can we have put some action behind it? You, Javan, can you do it?
Yeah, me I can do it. But maybe I'm not. I'm offering solution to already existing the problem that is in place.
Okay.
So if the young people will allow me, if they will listen to my agenda, and follow me the way they follow William Ruto or Raila Odinga, then I will do and push my agenda.
Javan. You see now, that was an opportunity for you, but you fumbled. That was an opportunity for you, but you fumbled it. Why did you fumble it, Javan?
I understand, but I'm offering solution.
No. Nobody wants your solution. People want the action on the ground. Everybody has solutions.
So
kila mtu akona mdomo na akili. So hizi vitu natuambia tushasikia.
So next week nakuja na pati yangu ya majenzi, wakisikia kuingia waingie, wakikataa pia ni sawa. Because at the end of the day, Kibe, we must move. The young people must stop begging, begging the government tufanyie. Why can't themselves come up with their own ways of addressing their own problems by having their own characters in county assemblies and
I
all.
don't think
You know,
the Gen Z need any more advice. I think we're wasting our time trying to advise them, which is what you're doing. So stop trying to advise them. If you don't have a solution for them, shut the fuck up. Na hiyo solution lazima ikuwe ni tangible solution. Usikuje kusema ile kitu wanafaa kufanya. Wewe kuja ukoshaifanya. Don't come telling them what they need to do. Because even me, I hate that. I hate somebody coming to tell me what, hey, you know, it would be a good idea. Like there's this guy we play pool with, right? And this guy likes to put his ideas in my head when we are around many people. So he comes and he sneakies and says, you know, it would be a good idea if now you could say this and this and this. So yesterday he told me that shit and I looked at him and I was like, hey, bro, why are you trying to get into my head?
but at the end of the day, Kife, this, you know, we must buy ideas because
No,
even what you are saying
who
is
is
what
the
I'm saying.
implementer?
Is
Who
idea.
is the
Is idea. So
implementer of
I
these
will,
ideas of yours? Because there's so many ideas in Japan. Too many ideas. That's why come an idea and get them mpya. Let's do this. Who's going to implement all these ideas? You guys you're creating your own
you
god or
know,
what?
you see, even the government brings ideas to the voters. They either agree to implement or
Somebody save
not.
me from
That is why I'm
Japan.
coming with this idea.
Who's going to save me
So
from
hapa kuna
Japan?
majenzi
Somebody,
wakisikia
anybody.
watachukua idea yangu,
Jesus.
wachukue na watoke nayo.
I can't, Javan. Just mute your mic. Where umenirudisha mpaka kwa gava. Alemu.
Hi, Kibe.
Hi, you save me from this guy, bro.
Okay. Okay. First of all, I thank you for initiating this debate. I was almost late working on my assignment in my laptop. So, secondly, I appreciate how you started the whole debate. I've just listened and followed. But one thing I want to challenge Javan in one thing. You know, first of all, the Gen Z movement is a good initiative. And I still repeat the other time I talked there. This movement was started in America by young people. They were oppressed with so many problems and they just voiced it out and it worked. And I see it working also in Kenya. So the only thing that the Gen Zs they have to do, you don't need to form political parties for you to get into parliament. An entity like Gen Z movement is a transitional dynamic entity that speaks out volumes like what they did recently. So the government is in the government is in the panic mode and is just trying to do this and that. That is all. And one problem that I want to discourage the Gen Zs, especially Javan who was speaking. Javan looks like he's not a middle adult. A middle adult is somebody like you now, Kibe. You are 45 going to there. At least you know what you're talking. He thinks like getting a party and hopping into parliament, you'll just get something. That is wrong. Initiate something that you know, it will definitely take out your voices and it will help you. The fact that the Kenyan Gen Zs have started, it is a good way that the issues can be heard. I remember last time, that was in 2005. By that time, I had just finished the campus. There was the Ministry of Youth Affairs. It was run by somebody, a Somali from the Northeastern called Kuti Mohammed. And that ministry was running well. Anything that was about youth, it was handled by youth, and so many conferences were there. So where is that ministry? So those are some of the very important issues that the Gen Zs have to voice it out. Where is our stake? So the Gen Zs they have to stand out for consideration, not political consideration. It is a genuine human right consideration as young people who wants to who wants to fight for their future. So the other stories about I will tell Gen Zs to come and join this party, that is bullshit. Americans don't adapt to that. I just speak with a lot of respect because I learned with so many Americans and their perspective of things is different from one that we have here. So I think Kibe, what the Gen Zs, what we can empower Gen Zs is to wake up, follow the course, then go straight to the point. They should not get any political appointment, any political favoritism. It will not work at all. It will not work.
So,
yeah.
Ronald John,
yeah.
Are you saying young people cannot represent themselves because you are trying to tell us we copy the American system or something like that? Kwa sababu, at the end of the day, these young guys, the old people are leaving these offices. Why is it that you feel like young guys, the Gen Zs, can't represent, can't registrate, can't do all that is expected, to be done in the floor of the parliament or in the county assembly? Must the young people be represented by a millennial or, the boomer or something like that? Can't they represent themselves because they know their problem better? Why can't they come up with their solutions and implement the solutions themselves instead of begging the government to do this and do that for them?
Okay, it is fine. Your question is just in order. I was not digressing off from what I was saying. I was saying standing for yourself is voicing out your issues concerned. That means representations comes in automatically. But going for political parties for you to get in there, I repeat that initiate a dynamic transformative entity that will take your views forward. That means it will take you to positions that you need to be. It's not a matter of you don't want to present yourself. That's why I started that's why I went further citing the example of the Ministry of Youth Affairs. It's no longer there because the issues of the youth, they were taken care of by that time. So I think you mistook what I said. I said the movement, that initiative that the Americans took is the best. I do not want that. I'm not taking to Americans to stay like that. Even Americans themselves, they are doing the same thing that we are doing here. They are participating in politics, they do some, but they must do it in a way that is very much objective so that they might not be distracted by this politics. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
But in America, they have ideological-based political party. What we have here are individual-owned profit-making enterprises that don't represent the interest of these young people. That is, if this political party or the leadership addressed the issues of the Gen Zs, they would not be in the streets in the first place. They are in the streets because there's a vacuum. And that is why I'm saying, if there's a problem, why can't they now address this problem and take over? Because it seems that it's the leadership problem that we have in the country. And to address the leadership problem, we can only address it if we address the issue of political participation, because that is what propels these people to leadership to positions of influence. That is why I was suggesting the young people, if they feel these political parties that we have that are tribal and ethnic based are not representing them, these young people are saying that they are tribe race, they are regionalists, they don't have all those tags. Why can't themselves now join hands, are cutting across the political divide and across the regions? Now let's have our own vehicle, our own house that will address our problems. If these guys will, feel like we are a threat to them, then they will see the sense of what we are saying. But for now, begging the government to do this and that, I think that is where they will not, the issue will not be taken seriously. It's like, even when we are fighting for those guys who went to fight for independence, they didn't beg the British that, you have to listen to us. They did something. They went out and, came up with political organizations to participate fully. That were African, not the whitish. They were not assimilated to the whitish, organization. They came up with their own indigenous ways of doing things.
Okay, Javon, first of all, I understand your perspective where you're driving at. But first of all, America cannot be compared with Kenya. America is one of the mature democracies. The parties that we have Republican and Democrats. And all people who have the aspirations of those people who subscribe to the ideas of the Republican, they can go there. Democrats, they can go there. But Kenyan, we misunderstood one fact. You talked of the political party. Don't you think that the political party has a leader, somebody who has initiated? That's where, don't talk very fast. You need to talk. Just wait.
No.
Listen
You guys are now taking us to 2027. The story you're discussing now is 2027. We are asking, how can Gen Z sit with His Excellency the President and share power? We stop talking about those things you're talking about. That's what Gen Z does not want to hear. This is not a talk show in a TV. The question is, we have a movement.
Power?
We have a movement. How will it share power?
Why say a power when you can get the full bread? Why say a bread? Why get someone else's bread when you can bake your own bread?
Okay, look here. I think first of all, I'm not taking you to so many stories. I'm very much objective on what I'm saying. You know, the Gen Z, so the fact that the big issue here is how can they enjoy the big party. That's where the cake is being shared. So I repeat, and I'm very categorical on this, for Gen Zs to come forward to voice their issues, you don't need to work, even if you have your political parties. But remember, political parties have the other things. But one thing is this, they should come out, voice out their issues. So the president is just a human being. Can add them, can engage them if they wish like to be engaged by the president, but they should not, you know, first of all, we need to be a bit rational in our steps to getting something. So the moment we become worked up or irrational, definitely we may miss out the point. So the best thing that I can suggest on my own, the steps that the Gen Zs took in the first place, that the best proactive initiatives that it will enable them reach where they want. If the president invites them for any dialogue that is constructive, but not with hypocritical tidings, it may help them. Thank you for that.
Thank you, John Allen. Who else are we kicking out? I think Mulwa Mbinya, are you there?
Thank you so much, Kibe, for giving me this opportunity. I've been following up the space since I think morning. It's a good topic. Now, my point is, I've heard someone saying, I think it's Javan, and Asemati, the Gen Z have no one to represent them. How can he say that? How? Mbona hatuna mtu wa kuturepresent? We have people there representing us. We people who are young, below 35 years, but are making a bad decision in parliament. Wamewekwa kwa mfuko na Ruto. Mtu anapewa milioni 2 hapo anaenda kuvote yes. Even those guys akina Jalango, akina Peter Salese. Kwanza Peter Salese naona amepost hapo, amepost payslip at net salary ya 2,000. The guy is driving a V8. Anakunywa kila siku Ibiza na hapo Milan.
Wewe hii space ya prezo. Usikuja kunipigia makelele hapa.
Yeah?
Stick to the issue, bro. Hasa wata kuniambia juu kina Peter Salasia tunisaidike aje. Stick to the issue. We are looking for a seat. Hii kiti inatoka wapi? Hii power inatoka wapi? Stories sasa come complain hiyo mta complain kwa space zingine mkiwa nao sana.
But this is the issue on the table. Representation, leadership.
That's all I want to hear. Where are you guys? That's all that they should be. You guys should be discussing. It is as important as that. You guys don't understand how important it is for you guys to get this shit straight at the beginning. Otherwise,
Maze, wakati unasema ati Peter Salasia is representing you. Peter Salasia is not representing you. Angekuwa anakurepresent if he was an independent candidate. This guy was elected under the DAP party. He is aligned to the DAP agenda. That's why I'm telling the young people, they need to have something that is aligns with them. Usiseme ati Jalango anakurepresent because he is young. He doesn't represent you. He represents Raila Odinga. You know, usiseme ati ule jamaa mwingine wa huko Sudi ati anakurepresent. He represents the UDA party. So why can't we now as young people have something that represents the young people? Ili unasema tulielect Salasia and a movement ya majenzi but ametufail. How we can hold Salasia to account? The person who can hold Salasia to account is Eugene Wamalo, the party leader of the DAP party. The person who can hold Jalango to account is Raila Odinga, not us.
Javan.
We need to propel them to parliament.
Unanisikia Javan?
Yes.
Isn't that what I was trying to tell Mariam and she laughed? when I was telling her, we do not have our representation there. So how can we hold anybody
That is what
to account? Because these are not our people.
That is what they are not understanding. We are asking the wrong people to represent us. We are asking Jalango, who represent Raila, to represent us. How? His allegiance, his loyalty is to Raila Odinga. The alliance, the loyalty of Oscar Sudi is to William Ruto. That is what I'm saying. At the end of the day, whether you look at these things from all dimensions, you'll see the need of young people to have something that represent them and something that we can hold to account. Ingekuwa poa kama tunasema to re-elect Jalango na chama yetu ya mavijana, lakini amefail vijana. So tutasemaje Peter Salasi amefail vijana? Peter Salasi was just a young privileged guy who happened to be in the right, position ya DAP na ikawa popular hapo Western Kenya. He didn't represent the young people. He is young, but he is representing Eugene Wamalwa and the DAP party Kenya, the DAP party. We need a people we can hold account to say. That is why me seen a problem, and they didn't have problem even during the finance bill. Kusikia mtu kama Oscar Sudi ama the likes of Mwangi Kiunjuri and others saying to support this bill because it's being sponsored by William Ruto. I have no problem with the Jalango saying I oppose this bill because Raila Odinga is opposed to this bill. Paboino akisema is opposed to the bill because Raila is opposed to the bill. I have no problem because they represent those political bigwigs. Why can't the young people now have their own figure, a political bigwig representing the young people? Ili tunasema wewe mjamaa umetufail. We have someone to point figures to. Sasa tuna point figures to William Ruto. Ni kama William Ruto tulimpea hapo wa represent majenzi. We are pointing to Kalonzo. We need our own, our person, our something we can ask questions. We are asking the question to the wrong people. I think that is where the problem.
Mariam.
Sasa mina shanga, I don't know whether you guys heard me the first time when I told you that there's a whole ministry dedicated to youth. And I said, inafaa mwende huko mwangalie kama ni youth wameemployiwa ama ni hao maboomers. Sasa nyinyi mnataka a whole new ministry, a whole new department to be created to represent Liams. And yet there's a whole ministry of youth affairs, creative economy and sports that belongs to you. The youth.
No,
with
it does not belong to us.
budget.
It was never presented
It
to us.
belongs to you, but you have not owned it.
It belongs to guys of shags. It doesn't belong to people of the house.
People, hear me out for a moment. That is your department, but you have not owned it.
No, this is a shags government. You're not listening. It is a shags government.
No,
anything this government has done is from a shags point of view. It is not town-centric.
Creative economy is something that is town-centric.
Mariam, let's be honest for a second here. Let's be honest. Me, you and I. Fungua mic. Wacha kuhepa.
Nimefungua.
Una expect mka Ababu Namwamba akuwe head of creative economy in Kenya?
Sasa again una mispoint yangu Kibe. Chenye nakwambia hizi departments zina exist, lakini shida ni moja. Youth hawajawahi enda kudemand that this is our department and we need our representatives.
Hiyo department iko under Ababu Namwamba. Kweli uongo.
Sasa munafaa mwende muiclaim, you challenge them and tell them this is our department. You're not the ones running it.
It was not made for us.
Ministry.
That's why it doesn't
and
look
let me
like
tell
us.
You something.
That's why we are not there.
Now let me tell you where my concern is. Kibe, just a moment, please, before you jump in. Give me just a moment before you jump in. This is my concern. Tumekuwa tukilia that 48% of our revenue is going to wage. And then you guys want to increase the wage. And yet those departments already exist. You want to be represented with a new department, and yet the department that is supposed to represent you already exists. Why do you want to add the Kenya
you're not
wage?
Getting it. We don't want...
I understand you, Kibe.
Mariam, umepotea kabisa. Nataka nikurudishe. Let me bring you back, okay? You see, you think the Gen Z or this movement, let's take the Gen Z out of that equation, okay? Remove the word Gen Z. So this movement, you think this movement just wants a ministry? You crazy. You see, that's the thing. That's what you think, because for you're used to giving out scraps. That's why you're coming with scraps. You're telling us, hey, look at these scraps in the sport ministry. There's some scraps here. Why don't you go for these fucking scraps? Who do you think we are? You think we're going to be given handouts and keep jumping up and celebrating you because you're giving us handouts? That's not what we want. We don't want fucking
So
handouts.
can you articulate what you want?
Yeah.
Because what you're
No,
looking
we are
for
not
right
done
now
yet. We are
sounds
not
very
done
individual.
articulating it. Why are you rushing us? Ukisikia umechoka, shuka basi utembee. But
Hapana, mimi nawasikiliza, lakini kwenye mimi
because
nasikia
outside kusikiza, and as long as you're not listening, you're going to keep coming back with scraps here. We have told you we don't want scraps. We don't want handouts. Hatutaki mtu anakama hapa kusema shika hii pesa. Ndio sumumeka mkachukua Otero. You came, you picked Otero with handouts. Sisi hatutaki handouts. Handouts, these are for, people who are huko chini. Sisi tuko huko juu tunasema tunataka representation yetu pale kwa meza. We want somebody who speaks our language on that table there, because we don't know what you guys are discussing in there. Every time unakuja kwetu unakuja na hizi all these mambo jambo. No, we want a representation right there. Right there. So whatever it is that hizo scraps tunapeana, hizo tutagawana tu, haina shida. Mimi sitaki kupewa scraps. Tutachukua ministry with whatever money it has, tutagawana half. Tutachukua ministry ingine, So don't give me scraps here, Mariam. I see what you're doing.
Alafu kuna kitu moja anasema, and I think is confusing, wakati anasema ati we want to add representation. Mimi nashindo, kwani Mariam anafikiria wakati tunasema Gen Z waingie bunge, we are not adding any additional constituencies, we are not suggesting any additional counties. Therefore it is the Gen Z who will replace what we have. We are not adding any bunge ati we are bringing ati the number to 500 MPs. No, it is the number that we have to replace with a new face, a new people that represent the Gen Zs or the people who feel agitated by the failures of the successive regimes that have been in power. So wakati unasema ati we are adding the way to be, I don't get where you're coming from.
I think where she was going, because she was a bit confused, is you see, like now, when in 2007, when there was an issue, they had to bring in a guy called Kofi Annan to sit the two parties down and come up with a plan that all of them can honor. You understand? So I think that's where Mariam was coming in. She was saying, hey, you guys are going to need more representation for even things like the, people to go sit down with the people who sit down. Mace, are you back?
I have a question quickly, Kibe, just to anyone who has this data. I'd like to understand what you guys mean by youth, which people you think are not represented, and then what percentage of those people at the moment exist in government.
Mariam, ask me that question.
No, let's be realistic, because to solution based.
Ask me that question directly, because wewe unataka kuingia kwa numbers, but uingii kwa demographic. So unataka kujificha kwa numbers. I can see you. And tell me what's the youth. Mimi nimekwambia watu wako wamezaliwa kwa flats. Watu wamezaliwa kwa flats, watu wameishi kwa hizi mtaa zetu hizi. Hawana representation. Hao ndio nasema, wacha kutuambia sijui age is not a factor. Hao ndio watu walikuwa wanaweza ingia kwa internet haraka. Not those people coming from shags. Let me tell you, people who come from shags don't stay on the internet. You know that, eh? They are ingi kwa internet because life yao si internet. Uhuru Kenyatta, our own president, alisema mimi internet nimewachana. Maria, muone za wachana internet.
Now kina Mariam ndio alibranding hii movement Gen Z ili kukuwe na that question ati youth wanatoka from what point to which point. Hivyo ndio kitu ya kwanza to weaken it first of all. Second, ile kitu yenye Mariam anajaribu kutuambia ni ati there's a ministry for youth. Hiyo ministry ya youth au watu wenye wako kwa hiyo ministry wanaelectiwa na the same power yenye tunataka kucheck. Hii power yenye tunajaribu kucheck, utaicheka aje na huyo msee mwenye unajaribu kucheck ndiye amekupatia hiyo kiti? Unacheki? Like if you've been given that mandate by that person that you really want to check, utaicheck aje? That's number one. Secondly, hizi mambo za kuweka wasee kwa bunge, kupeleka wasee sijui kukuwa MPs and stuff like that. We know how a political structure inakuanga Kenya. Mse, I know of a friend